Hey guys, it's Michi. Thank you guys so much for all the love on my last video. This video is going to be about legal residency here in Mexico and the process that it took for me to get it. Now, honestly, it's taken all year. And for some of you, you may not know what legal residency is or residency period. I'll explain it a little bit. Legal residency is the ability to live in a country legally by establishing residency in a form of identity and legal status in a country. And it was very, very important to me to live and reside in Mexico legally. Now, many people live here in other countries on a tourist visa or student visa or, a humanitarian visa, work visa, things like that. But a lot of those, require someone to sponsor you or your job or career to be able to sponsor you. By me moving to Mexico and not having an employer, I wasn't going to be able to have a work visa. I'm not a student, so I didn't qualify for the student visa. I am not, in a position that I was unhealthy or didn't have any humanitarian issues, so I couldn't apply for a humanitarian visa. The best that I could do is a tourist visa, and the tourist visa is 180 days. So you could legally stay in the country of Mexico for 180 days, which is about 6 months before you'd have to leave. But moving here, I did not want to be forced to move or leave every 6 months. Plus, with COVID-19 and, us being in a pandemic, once countries close borders, many people are then shut out and they're not allowed to legally come back to the country if you're on the outside of the border when the border's closed. And unfortunately, I have many people that experienced that, where they was not able to either come back into the country that they wanted, or they were pretty much locked out of a country that they loved. And I didn't want that to happen. So I wanted to be in Mexico legally. Now, that takes a lot. Not that the process is extremely hard, but for me, for some reason, it was extremely hard. Once I tried in January to establish what the rules would be for legal residency. I was told that I would need to show economic solvency, which is $33,147 a month in my bank account. Where was I going to get $33,000 a month just out of the blue? Not happening. So I thought it was some type of mistake. I thought maybe they meant $3,400, $34, something. I thought it was some type of mistake, but it wasn't. So when I returned from Mexico and returned home to Los Angeles, I followed up with my consulate there in downtown Los Angeles. I showed up without an appointment, and I was actually able to see one of the reps that work in the visa department. And she informed me that I did not qualify because I was not 60 years old, nor did I have economic solvency, which for them was $33,147 for the last 12 months in my bank account. Now, $34,000 a year? No, $34,000 a month. Needless to say, I kind of cried at that moment. I felt defeated. I didn't understand why. That's not what, I read. That's not what I was told by other people who, I was following that said that they did this and, they had none of those issues. Like, why me? Anyways, so I left from Los Angeles and followed up with Santa Ana. Thought I was going to have luck with Santa Ana. Santa Ana said, no, you need to follow up with Los Angeles because you live in Long Beach, California, and that is in the county of Los Angeles. You need to go there. So then I followed up with San Diego, Sacramento. I went to all of them. And as I began following up, emailing, again, the pandemic hit, the world shut down, and I was pretty much shut out of residency, legal residency. I had no resources, nowhere to go, nowhere to turn. And I was like, this can't be real. This can't be happening. And I continued to call. I continued to email anybody in any state that could possibly help me. So fast forward 7 months, Phoenix, the consulate of Mexico in Phoenix, actually responded to one of my emails. And over the course of several weeks, I was exchanging information and exchanging what it is that I needed to send over to them so I could work on my residency, my legal residency here for Mexico. So a little bit after 2 weeks that I've been here in Mexico, Arizona said, hey, we have a appointment for you. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Okay, so what do? I hop on a plane from Mexico to Los Angeles, rent a car because I cannot fly from PV, where I live, into Phoenix. It's like a 30-hour trip, and it doesn't make sense. Plus, I needed to go back to Los Angeles so I could get all of my documents for the consulate in Arizona. They required originals, policized copies of your marriage license. They required 6 months of original bank statements. They required the bank to state that I was the owner of my bank account. They needed all of my business documents, all of those things. And it was quite a task to make sure that I had everything in line. So once I flew to Los Angeles, I was in awe because it was like an empty airport. And I flew into LA, checked into my hotel, got our car, checked into the hotel, and that next morning I got up to go to the bank and do all of my errands. So when I got to the bank, I'm in the bank, I'm explaining to the bank exactly what it is I'm doing, showing them the email of everything that she's asking for, and I get a call while I'm in the bank. The call is from the consulate in Arizona, and the rep is on the phone, and she's like, I'm sorry, Demetria, we're going to have to cancel your appointment because COVID cases are up and the state is shutting down and our office is shutting down. So we need to cancel your appointment. I literally nearly passed out. I said, this cannot be real. I just did all of this, please. And I'm explaining to her exactly what I've done, what I'm doing. And she said, okay, let me talk to my supervisor and I'll get back to you. So she calls me back about maybe 20 minutes later and says, okay, we'll make an exception. We'll only see you, but we're going to schedule your appointment for the morning, early morning, instead of the afternoon. Now, mind you, I have to drive from Los Angeles to Arizona. So, and my appointment is in the morning. So we have to leave around 2:30 a.m. so we can make sure that we're there on time and ready to go. So we get up, we drive out and, head for Arizona. We get there, I'm happy, my legs are numb, my back hurts, my knees are jacked up from being in the car for so long. I'm exhausted, but I want the process to go smoothly. So I make sure I have all of our documents, like every last one of them. So we get there, we get inside. The lady is so nice, so extremely nice. And we go through the process and she says, yes, Demetria, you qualify for permanent residency, not temporary, but permanent. Almost passed out. Okay, like I nearly cried right on the table, like literally. So let me show you what it looks like. I don't have my passport, and I'm going to explain to you why I don't have it right now. I'm so excited to show you guys what it kind of looks like. This is what it looks like. Of course, I blacked out everything, but this is what the visa looks like that they put inside your passport. Okay, so they take pictures of us there and affix this like green card type thing inside of your passport. This tells the country of Mexico that you are applying to be a resident. So once we left Arizona, we came back to Los Angeles and then flew from Los Angeles back to Mexico. Once we came in from our flight and we checked into immigration saw that we had a 30-day temporary stay card in they saw that we had a residential card inside of our passport. So then he marked it with 30 days, indicating that I only had 30 days to register here in the country of Mexico, or my process was null and void. So we get in on that Friday, and I hear that they're going to be shutting down Mexico because COVID is out of control here in Puerto Vallarta, and they, want to be safe, and everything is going to be shut down, and it's going to be pretty much military style. I'm like, okay. So Friday we spent all that day getting groceries, getting everything we need. Saturday, I met with an immigration specialist here. It was her day off, but she was aware that, everything might shut down. And if I don't get my paperwork started, at least to be in, process, then I'm going to pretty much be stuck. So she was able to see us on Saturday, and all of the paperwork, half of it's done by hand, some of it's done online, but most of it's done by hand, and it's all in Spanish. And that process is about $300 to $400 US per person. And that was a lot of work. Watching her do everything was a lot. We needed to take 3 more photos, and they're very different than the US. They're very I felt like I was in jail, like the way they take the photos. That's just how it was. And that process takes 6 to 8 weeks once once they do it. But you have to surrender your passport just for a day or two until immigration's processes your paperwork correctly. But I'm supposed to go pick up my passports today, so I'm gonna do that before I can. But the process has been very, 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 very long and frustrating, and I'm just glad that it's over. And those of you who have questions about residency, I'm going to put as much detail as I can in the description box below so you guys can understand what exactly I did, and maybe it helps you. Each consulate is very different, okay? That's what I discovered. What one is saying, another one may not be saying, even though the rules are the same. And no, it sounds crazy, but they all work on their own. And there's only 2 or 3 people in each department for each consulate. They do a lot of work. So that's another thing. And with COVID and all of these things that are happening, it's just a mess. Where this process probably shouldn't have taken me so long, but it was already messed up before I even started. They already had told me no, that I did not qualify because I was not 60 years old, and I wasn't of retirement. I did not receive a pension. I don't qualify for retirement. And they're like, well, why do you want to come to this country? Why? So it was a lot. So hopefully this inspires you guys that maybe have hit that same rock in the highway to continue to go, because it's hard, but it was very, very important for me to be legal. It was very important. Why would I do all of this to only be in a country illegally? I don't want to do that. I don't want to half-ass it, if that makes sense. I don't. I want to just do it and do it well and do it to the very best of my ability. So I hope that this helps you guys. Sorry that I'm rambling a little bit. This is all kind of new to me, but I'm hoping that it helps someone. Okay, see you guys soon.